back, Quest for You fans. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast. I'm so excited you are here. This is episode 273, and I'm starting out with a quote by E.E. Cummings. To be nobody but yourself in a world which is doing its best night and day to make you everybody else means to fight the hardest battle which any human being can fight. So I have a couple of episodes for you on identity, starting today. And according to Wikipedia, one's self-concept, also called self-construction, self-identity, self-perspective, or self-structure, is a collection of beliefs about oneself. Generally, self-concept embodies the answer to who am I? And who of us hasn't asked this question before? I think we all have. Maybe some of us a long time ago, when we were in the process of maturing from child to adult. This was also the time we took more conscious notice of our identity. Maybe being more mindful about what we think, believe, and do instead of just going with the crowd and with what our parents said. Our identity today is shaped by many conscious but also unconscious factors. Conscious, the ones we decide to adopt by making deliberate choices. And unconscious, those that influence us in ways we don't notice until someone questions them. Family, culture, friends, personal interests, and surrounding environments all influence who we are and who we become. Family upbringing and culture may influence our sense of responsibility and ethics and morals. Friends and the environment we live in may influence our taste in clothing, music, how we speak, and our choice of social activities. And a big portion of our identity are our personal interests and which goals we decide to pursue in life. Basically, our path. Our identity plays an important role in the quest for you. Who we think we are determines our choices and ultimately our results. I'm a podcaster because I write, record, and post episodes on a regular basis. There's often a disconnect between who we think we are and who we really are. I may see myself as friendly, outgoing, and easy to get along with. But if I hardly have any friends in life, then I may be telling myself something that isn't really true because evidence is lacking. And if I really want more friends, then I think it's time to change something. Most of us have big aspirations. We want to be wealthy, healthy, and happy, and many more things in between. Yet we have the identity of someone who has the opposite. We're struggling financially, we're out of shape, and we feel miserable about it all. On my quest for you, I had to acknowledge this bitter fact, that the life I really wanted was escaping me because I didn't believe in it. I desired it, but yet I lived a life dictated by outside circumstances. And when there is a mismatch between who you think you are and who you really are, we will not see the results in our life, no matter how hard we strive for them. Identity comes first. This is who you are. This is how you came into this world by yourself. Your identity needs to drive your life, not everything else. James Baldwin, in his conversation about identity with anthropologist Margaret Mead, says it wisely. You've got to tell the world how to treat you. If the world tells you how you're going to be treated, you are in trouble. Many people allow their life to be run by outside circumstances, often unconsciously. They think they need more in order to do more and to be more. If they just had more money, time, and energy, they could accomplish more and be the person they want to be. But being comes first. That's how you started. Your identity is your root. I love to have good friends in my life, but I never had many. It wasn't until I changed my approach from what do I need to do to get more friends to who do I need to be to get more friends. Notice the difference? Friends came into my life when I began to be kinder and friendlier to other people. There wasn't much I needed to do. When you go out and search for something, but you yourself aren't really ready for it, maybe because you're all closed up and serious and preoccupied like I was, the world will not respond. When you wait for circumstances to be right, you will not get the outcome you hope for. That's why people move across the country, because they think a different environment will do the trick. They'll switch jobs because they hope that the next one will bring more satisfaction. This is a life by circumstance. Turn it around. We have to work from a model of identity. And to do so, it starts with the question, who do I have to be so I can have the things I want? We have to be first. Ask yourself right now, as you're listening to my voice, what is something in your life that you really want, but you don't have yet? For many people, it's money. They want more of it. They want at least enough to not have to worry about the next paycheck for a while. Enough to buy a few missing things, and a few nice-to-have things. What's your mindset on money? Are you always worried about it? Never have enough? Stressing out over every dollar that you're spending? Then you're living from a place of being poor. Change will happen in your life, I promise you this, because I've seen it on my own life. When you start living by your identity, your circumstances may be poor. Maybe you don't make much money, or you don't even have a job. But your identity doesn't need to be poor. Who do you see yourself as? Start there. You may be poor, or out of shape, or alone, and unhappy. But you don't have to adopt that mindset of a person that is like this. Start with who you want to be. Change your mindset. If you can't become that person first, the wealthy, healthy, and happy person, then you can't start doing what you need to do to get that outcome. A poor person with a poor mindset spends energy stressing, worrying, complaining, and counting pennies. A poor person with a wealthy mindset seeks opportunities to make money. See the difference? If you don't have what you want, then there is a disconnect with your identity. Ask yourself this very important question. What identity would someone have that already has what I want? And find role models if you're struggling defining this. For me, I always watched people who had friends like the ones I wanted. These people were always outgoing, friendly, and less focused on themselves. I finally started learning from that and began to adopt similar behaviors. If you're out of shape, look at the people that are in shape and study them. What do they currently do that you're currently not doing? And that got them where they are now. And then ask yourself what the steps are that you need to take to get there. Behaviors are driven by our mindset. We think poor, we act poor. We think about how overweight we are, we make the choices of an overweight person. Behaviors change when our mindset changes. The first step is understanding the disconnect between where you are now and where you want to be. This is as easy as what we just did, looking at your life and the outcomes that you're not getting. These outcomes reflect your current identity. The second step is understanding how to get your identity in sync with who you want to be. Now you're beginning to change your mind a little. You're making conscious decisions. Just like when you were younger and you decided you wanted to follow the Grateful Dead around the country instead of going to college. A conscious decision rather than a life lived by circumstances. And when you begin to change your mind, almost miraculously, the steps to take you towards your new identity will become clear. But it starts in your mind, and you have to see it and believe it first. You have to come from possibility rather than setback. Most people come from setback. Look how unlucky I am. My genes, my hormones, my family, my ex-husband. By blaming others for their current state, they hand their identity over to someone else. They give up the driver's seat. and things won't get any better this way. So let's take charge of our identity. There isn't anyone or anything holding us back from living the life we dream of, except we, ourselves. I want to read you a quote from John O'Donohue in a conversation with John Quinn, which is called Walking on the Pastures of Wonder. It nicely expresses the limitations we place on our life by confining ourselves to the constraints of our environment. One of the sad things today is that so many people are frightened by the wonder of their own presence. They are dying to tie themselves into a system, a role, or to an image, or to a predetermined identity that other people have actually settled on for them. This identity may be totally at variance with the wild energies that are rising inside in their souls. Many of us get very afraid, and we eventually compromise. We settle for something that is safe, rather than engaging the danger and the wildness that is in our own hearts. There's so much more we can gain from this life if we start with our identity. This may mean peeling back some of the layers of identity that we have taken on, but that really don't coincide with who we want to be. So I encourage you, all my listeners today, and I will do the same. Ask yourself, who do you want to be? And then start working towards that. Much love.